We're not on live, are we?
Yes.
Okay, so we are on live, right? Okay.
In recording.
So we call the meeting to order and we know who we are that are here.
That's correct.
If not, we can digitize your face or something.
No.
Okay, and there's no one, is there anyone that wants to make a comment from the public?
No.
No, okay, so we can forego that. Approval of the minutes of January 18th. I have a motion for that.
I second.
Okay, and those minutes are then approved. And now we need to hear from Teresa about the audit update.
That's right.
Yeah, we were, Tim's been involved with this too, but we were hoping, well, we thought for sure that they were going to be out here to do a presentation for us today and then do the presentation to the board tomorrow. But they've been dragging their feet big time. So they're not going to be out here till March now. And it's been a bit of an issue. We're not real pleased with them. And we are going out for the RFP, definitely get a new auditing team in there. So I don't know, Jim, I'm sure you have more comments to say.
I think everyone, these are for signature.
Okay.
I think, everyone had planned last year in February, that would be the time, this would be the time schedule. They would have been here today, and tomorrow night they would have made their official presentation to the board. The issues before both us and them, same as they were last year, because one of the add-ons to the audit is an additional federal audit that's required when you take or receive FEMA money.
Oh.
And so last year, it kind of was a curveball.
Right.
But we worked around it, they got it done, and we met the goal.
Right.
The deadline is really a function of the January 31st deadline in the California law that says that we have to present a summary of our audited financials or our books, okay, to the state controller. So every agency feeds in and meets that deadline. So if you're clear at the end of your time, then you finish it, meet the deadline for the controller, present to the client, us, you, the board, in February. Ideally, if we didn't have issues like the federal audit,
Right.
we do it in January. Before.
Yes.
But it all kind of revolves around that January 31st deadline. Anyhow, they're overwhelmed internally, and they say that, their plan was that we would be finished in January, and now they've got other clients and other deadlines, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line, in my opinion, having talked to everybody involved in this delay, is COVID. We hear it everywhere.
Sure.
And now we ask for a copy, which you received in your email, of what was transmitted to the state controller. And you'll notice that there were handwriting on it. That tells me they're way behind. I don't generally receive from a CPA for the document
No.
that's handwritten.
No.
So,
Are they
okay,
going to
so I
resubmit
don't
it?
mind if they say that we didn't get everything to them in time, even though our last submittal was in December to them. So I'm really not buying that argument, and I think we just got to fess up that lots of places.
But it has been submitted to the
It
controller?
was, so we met the deadline.
Okay. I was going to
Because
ask.
they would then be in violation of their agreement with us,
Right.
because by whatever means, that has to be submitted.
Yes.
And you've seen what those numbers are, if they had the handwriting on it at all. So I think everything's fine. I think people just need to say they're running behind. And they were hit with COVID because
Yeah, my auditor, I have a different auditor that comes out
Okay.
every year. And he had COVID, so he was out for like 2.5, 3
Sure.
weeks.
Sure.
Yeah, like everybody, I mean, we're getting hit with it.
We haven't been, knock on wood.
Right.
We haven't been hit through the whole thing. But the organizations we deal with, and like the law firm,
Mhm.
kind of run through there. So I think they just need to call it what it is.
Yes, yeah, I think so.
But
But you're looking for someone else for next year.
Yeah, we're gonna take bids.
so this isn't a punitive thing against what is little.
No, no, no.
We were gonna
It's,
do it anyway.
we've had them 15 years. And 15 years ago, you weren't allowed to do that. And then when their time ran out, the law changed. And so long as it's not the same people within the firm,
Right.
you can continue your audit. firm. But then on our side,
Mhm.
there needs to be due diligence by you, the board,
Mhm.
to show that you're getting the right, most favorable price and this and that. So, as Robert recalls, the committee recommended it a couple of years ago that we make the change. Then the FEMA thing happened,
Okay,
and it just didn't make sense to change that year. But it's sitting on my desk,
okay,
and we'll submit that in March, right after their presentation.
okay.
And then just to give you a heads up, because I was looking at the calendar this
Right.
morning, plugging in the dates in, I was gonna bring a copy, it's on the printer, but we'll go out to bid, I believe it's right after the board meeting next month.
Okay,
They'll come, they'll present their audit. Then the next day, the RFP goes out, and generally we use CSDA, our trade association.
right,
And they have a clearinghouse of RFPs. So companies that do government work watch that. So
okay,
they'll see RFP, auditing services, Duluth CSV.
okay,
They'll go on our website, get the little form I made up, and they will have until I picked the first Tuesday in May, just to give about a 6-week period of time for them to make their presentations. They'll all be nice, bound presentations. And then we'll go through them that week, and then probably have a special finance meeting of you two to look at the proposals. And that would be like the second week of May.
okay,
Then I think your May meeting, right around that time, will have you meet the 3 that you want to meet,
Or whatever number we
or
select.
whatever you
Mhm.
pick.
okay.
Well, those would be more informal.
Right, right,
And then at the board meeting in May, 1, 2, or 3, whatever you select, will come to the podium and present to the whole board.
all right,
And then hopefully at that meeting, the board will pick one. They start July 1st.
okay. All right,
So we're gonna need probably a couple special meetings
That's
of
fine.
you committee. Because I'm guessing we're gonna get quite a lot of
I
it.
think so.
And I know that Leaf and Coal will bid also.
Okay, very good.
Just an update.
Thank you. Now we can go back to the review of the 2022 claims. I have actually a couple of questions. Culvert repair, you have
That's
down
what
there?
I had, was my,
5,700?
that's one of my questions. What was that?
Who was that?
Permits and recon. That was on
Rincon.
January 7th, Rincon.
Oh,
California Fish and Game.
Oh, that's Sandy Creek, isn't
that's to get no, that's Rincon, but that's a fee that California Fish and Game charges to get your actual permit to do the work
it? So that's
from
Buena
Fish and
Vista.
Game.
Yeah, I remember you told
Buena
us that.
Vista.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
Buena
It's
Vista.
Buena
That's
Vista.
Buena
That's
Vista,
right.
okay.
Yeah, that's right. Now I recall that. Okay. The other one I had was the 50%, actually I have 2 others, the 50% deposit on the conference room emergency door.
Yeah,
That was another one.
Where's the
We
door
are-
going over there?
yeah.
Fine.
And the only thing we're waiting on, he's ready to go. He's waiting on the frame
Okay.
that's
It's-
backward on
But
it.
it's fire rate.
Fire rated, sure.
So,
And they gotta build a step down and move some electrical and all that stuff, so.
Okay.
this was, Mary Ann started this 2 years ago.
Oh, did
And we
you?
couldn't find a contractor Because
do that.
tenant improvements are really hard to come by, you know, because they want to build up a little space, the
Mhm.
people who do that.
It's
But
small
to
job.
do these fire rated doors and stuff, there's some artwork to it. And so you have to know what you're doing. And we found it next door. The guy next door had done some work.
Oh, really?
And so we grabbed his contractor. And, but how many months have we been fooling around?
That's about 3 months. I think.
And that's-
COVID again.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
COVID again. It's an issue with all the contractors these days. There have been more complaints against contractors in the last year than ever before.
I bet. I mean, this door has just cost us so much. You know, Mary Ann, when she left the board, said, well, I sure hope someday you get me my door.
It's what she said. How funny.
Well, because it's for security.
Sure.
You know, if
There's
the
no way
fire is
out.
here and you
It's
can't
true.
get
You
out.
can't
we
get out.
need Something.
Mhm.
Right. so-
That's true. That's true.
So he's got the door, he's got everything except for the moldy, the frame
Yeah.
that goes around.
It
the
has to be a metal frame,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, just when talking, there isn't almost anything you can't talk about, and it's affected by this
Right.
COVID situation
True.
everywhere.
I have a question.
Mhm.
What does NRS mean? And you have deferred comp? What is,
What that is, it stands for National Retirement Solutions.
all right,
And what that is we have a deferred compensation plan that any of the employees can join. That money you're seeing, $320,
uh-huh.
it's another investment, but it's taken out of the employee's paycheck. And
Okay.
then I've got to send it to NRS to invest.
Okay,
So
so
it's
that,
an in-out,
it's
it's no
kind of-
cost.
okay, it's kind of, like a,
Well,
uh,
for-
401K
Yes.
is what?
You got
Okay.
it, exactly.
And that $300 is from the employees, not.
Yes, so there's absolutely no employer expense.
Jim,
That's
you
what
want
I
to
was-
tell us about the IT upgrade services, $5,000?
Well, part of it is our regular IT monthly. And there's an invoice, there were 2 invoices. One was 2,400 was our regular monthly IT service. And then the balance of that was for some of the product that we're getting in here and labor from our IT people. You see the new rally
Right,
bar
right.
right there
Right.
and all of that, which, you know, I'm sure we'll be talking about it.
I think I can just give you the bottom line. That bar, and then right behind you is another camera.
Right.
And over here, Jessica's running a little board,
Mhm.
okay? $24,000. Now, for what it will do, it's much less than what I had expected. I believe our budget items were this whole room upgrade and all, was like 60,000. But this, in that machine you're looking at on the wall, it replaces a controller and 2 camera people. And I can show you, what's the word?
And all the
Okay, so
staff.
I'm gonna keep talking. Now watch this.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep talking and I'm just talking away. Is it following me?
Do you have that camera on, Jess, or no?
This one here?
Mhm.
Oh, this one, I can turn it off.
Or do you have it on where it'll follow him or no?
No,
Oh,
that's
she doesn't
why.
have it on just because we don't have the board meeting going.
Well, anyway, this follows, it picks up all the sound. Don't like.
She can switch it, Jim, if you want her to.
Well, if we can just switch it. But, so the person talking, so in most cases, in a board meeting, it's gonna be Debbie. And, so it knows when, she's speaking.
Mhm.
Is it on now, Jessica? How come it's
The
not-
difference
Oh, it is.
is,
There it goes.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
So now I'm the one talking. Now, you see, it's,
takes me because I started talking.
But it's good, it'll get everybody, when he sees everybody
Right.
talking, it'll pull back so you can get everybody. And if you're talking for a long time, it'll go right on, we'll let Jim talk.
yeah, okay, so, have it do the board and then the whole board. That would be the, the 5 seats up here. That'll be the default position.
Yeah, that's
And
one
then
of the
whoever's
presets.
speaking, it will begin to zoom in on them. Is it working? We're waiting for Jesus and his crew to come out and do our final
It's just
training.
their
So
preset.
since I'm the one talking, that's the whole room.
Mhm.
But the default position will be the 5 seats up here. And then when someone in those seats is speaking, it'll zoom in on them and you'll just see a couple of the seats. Anyway, we need to get them on.
And so this is what the people at home will see, and it'll be on all 3 screens, and when someone shares like a presentation, like a PowerPoint, it'll be on all 3 screens, they'll see it from home, and we don't have any more sound issues, the sound.
That's the
clarity-
real
Yeah,
thing.
that was.
Forget it shining on people. I mean, but the sound is, you're talking over there, you know, we could hear that here was
That's right,
perfect.
it was
And I think that's really the key, because the real problem you had the last time was the sound issue.
Yeah, and that's
And
gone.
that's all gone.
Good, excellent.
And we don't need any equipment of having everybody with microphones.
That's great.
I have one more question. Since I'm new to
No
this, so
problem.
I was looking here.
Yeah,
Navia, it's the HRA and FSA health reimbursement
yeah.
and flexible spending account. I look all these things up. What are they?
Okay, our Navia is our third-party administrator. We have an FSA,
Flexible spending
and
account.
a
right.
HRA, which is a health reimbursement
Right.
account.
Mhm.
The FSA is, again, one of those that is taking out of our check.
Right,
We, so it's an in-out.
right.
Now, the HRA,
Uh-huh.
that's a little bit more complicated. Several years ago, we went to the district wanted to save money. We were on a really premium healthcare plan that had very low deductibles, but it was extremely expensive for the district. So to compromise with the employees and accomplishing what the district needed to do, we implemented a health reimbursement account. What that means is the health medical insurance that we have right now, it's a lower plan that has a very high
All
deductible.
right.
So what this does is for those few times when, let's say, someone, God forbid, got cancer,
Mhm.
and they have to pay this $5,000 or $10,000 deductible, what happens is the company comes in, they step in and they pay that deductible for the employee. So we still keep our same deductibles that we had on the better
Oh, I
plan,
see.
which was 300, 600.
Right.
So, I did an analysis of what it cost the district probably about 4 years ago. And it saved a lot of money for the district because we haven't just had, the case where someone's needed to use that. I think once we did,
Okay.
that was for, a employee that's no longer here and one passed away. So that's kind of our negotiation when we were going through our MOU and
All right, so the employees have a higher deductible to meet per year, but if it's a catastrophic illness, this will kick in.
exactly,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And so that would be an expense to the district.
Right.
But the FSA is just, I
There-
do $100 a month, it comes out of my check,
That's
I
right.
forward it.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
what that is. So you'll see that every month.
Yeah, okay, I don't know why.
Right.
So if you see something on there that looks like $3,000, some kind of event happened.
Sure.
Probably
Sure.
that we had to kick in, it hardly ever happens, so it's relatively low.
That's
And
great.
we use a third-party administrator for
Mhm.
privacy.
Oh,
They
okay.
have
They
a law.
decide, we don't.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the employee goes to them and it says, I had this cancer treatment.
Mhm.
We don't have to know.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
all,
It-
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. That's nice.
That's
Okay.
required, actually.
Is it a
by law.
requirement now?
Yeah, it's required.
Hmm. All right.
The, anything else we want to ask about? Hey, you want to go over the rehabilitation spreadsheet?
I didn't really get a chance to update it. I
Okay.
just wanted to let you guys know, I'm sure, have you talked to both of them regarding the arbitration and what's happened with that? Yeah, okay, the only thing I want to tell you, what's happened with FEMA is I submitted, every time we have a progress payment to Marietta Development for Sandia Creek and Via Vaquero, last month it was $316,000. So I turned right around and I submitted to FEMA to get reimbursed for that. Well, there was a little glitch, that Cal OES didn't get the approval for the version, meaning FEMA wanted us to replace those 5 culverts. We wanted to line them. They
Right.
said, no, we want you to do this. So it's taken a little longer to get that reimbursement because FEMA needed to get with Cal OES and say, yes, everything's good. We've blessed this. Now we can start paying you. So I'm assuming within another outside month, we should start to get that money back in. It was a little glitch, but it's the 316. And then the next progress payment and the next progress payment.
But we found out that process, how far behind is FEMA? Like a year?
I think he said a year and a half, and they had over 500 agencies that are getting approvals on the same thing. So it's everywhere, it's just everything.
In other words, they haven't like appropriated the money in FEMA,
Mhm.
and they're a year and a half behind. So then we, through Teresa, we screamed and took it up to the number 2 guy at Cal OES. And we
Weekly
said,
meeting.
we're already building this.
That's right.
It's not, 2 years, a year and a half ago is when they made this switcheroo
Sure.
and then added 500 more to our account. Well, California added it to our account. When she sent in the request for the money, they said, some clerk tells her, well, there's no money in the account. What? So then we went to the top guy and he says, well, yeah, you're approved by us, California.
Mhm.
But let me check with FEMA. And then he calls her back and says, well, they're a year and a half behind. It's still in the file. So you can submit all your paperwork all you want, but there's no money there.
So, yeah.
He did whatever they do and they had some meeting the next day and he took it to the FEMA guy and got ours signed off.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so it was like,
But it's, you gotta constantly.
jump through
Yeah,
hoops, you do.
FEMA roulette.
Yeah.
But it's just government junk,
Well,
Well, so we survived that. Now, what I think they're asking for is, the yellow and green bar chart?
Yes.
Okay, for this 182,000 change order, how does that affect that green bar chart?
Oh, okay, so we're doing the slurry and
yes,
patching,
yes.
extending that.
Right.
So that can't be part of FEMA, that needs to be completely separate.
Right.
And I'm working with the lady at
Right.
Marietta Development to make sure that happens. So that will need to come out of roadway rehabilitation.
But then the question is, sometimes we have those sheets here, this
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah,
Okay, if we had that sheet, you'd probably just go get it. If they take this action tomorrow night, how does that change the sheet? And I guess the bottom line is, do we have enough money to do that?
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I was telling Jim, a few weeks ago, we got our benefit fee payment, our big one came in for $1.1 million. Spread over all the zones, so that put some money into the primary zone, so
Right.
we have enough money to.
Now, Deanza, obviously Sandia Creek is the primary zone. Where is Deanza? Is that the primary zone or is it not?
No,
Okay,
No.
so you're gonna do Deanza as well, right? I mean,
That's on
Buenos
the next
Campos.
phase.
Buenos Campos.
yeah, I'm going
Buenos Campos, you're gonna do that, right?
Yeah.
And that's not on the primary zone? How are you gonna do that?
Well, they have extra money.
We
They have
do,
enough.
all of the zones have some money in
I
it.
know,
But that zone is the richest zone right now, if you grab that.
Zone
sheet.
one, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
zone
So
one
they're,
has a lot of money.
Yeah, so they're not gonna have a lot of money after we do Buena Vista,
No,
but they'll still be in.
Buenos Campos is not in zone one.
Okay.
Buena Vista is in zone one.
Right.
But we're talking about two different things here.
The detour.
The slurry and the repair of Sandia Creek, not Buena Vista. I thought that's what you were talking about. What were you talking about in terms of repair?
I was talking about the $182,000 change order.
That.
This
Yes.
is what,
That's what I'm talking
So,
about.
and that's for Buena Vista?
No.
no.
No, that's in the prime, most of it's gonna come out of primary.
Which is where? Sandia Creek.
Yes,
And where in Sandia Creek? And where does the rest of it that doesn't come out of primary come from? Which zone? And do they have enough money?
Well, let's see, Via Vaquero and Sandia are primary.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
So now and that's all we're doing this time.
Okay,
But what the engineering committee has pretty much committed to
right.
is to do the detour this summer.
That's Buenos Campos.
And that'll come out of the various zones.
Okay.
I think it's all zone one, isn't it,
No,
two?
that's the zone I live in. I don't remember what number it is.
It's
But
right
in any
here.
case, you just got to make sure that that zone, I mean, what you're doing in terms of the cost and all to that zone.
And
that's all.
we looked at
Sandia
that,
Creek, Via
maybe
Vaquero.
a year ago.
So I'm not
And
sure
there
what
was
else.
enough.
Okay, great.
There was a list of the different zones, how much money is he?
And that was what
Yeah,
was
I
talking
just-
about.
They
we
call it
haven't-
green and yellow.
Yeah.
Oh,
sheet.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I will have it ready if you would like for the board
Do
meeting.
you have the one from last time?
Yeah, I can go grab it.
Just
Give me a second.
one copy, because it'll give you the exact. But, so there's three projects going on.
Excuse
This
me,
one.
this only lists Sandia Creek,
And
that's
then
fine.
there's
160.
a Via Vaquero in there too.
Yeah, that may be, maybe a different page, yeah.
No, it's in there.
Sandia Creek, Sandia Creek, Sandia Creek, Deanza, Sandia Creek, Buenos Campos, Sandia Creek, Buenos Campos.
Okay.
And then if you flip the page, it shows the locations on the
Yeah, right.
map.
Right.
But then now, if you go to the next map.
That's
it's
Via
Via
Vaquero, right,
And it's just one patch.
okay,
Right next to where we
Okay.
did the pipe job.
okay. Yeah, this only shows the primary zone.
Yeah,
Okay.
So then, there's this project, then in
Here it
spring,
is, right
we're
here.
ready, hopefully ready to go. That 5,500, that's a very good sign. 'Cause I don't see those because that goes, I see them, but it isn't like an invoice kind of thing.
Mhm.
Because when Ron calls and says, get that money over to the state or whatever, it's like a separate check that you
Yeah.
guys do. But that means that we're making progress on getting construction underway on Buena Vista.
Right,
the big one.
right.
There are the zones.
Then the next project would be the detour route.
Right, okay. Right.
And
That's the one that goes through different zones,
right.
not primary.
And that's the one that we get the complaints about,
Right.
rightfully so,
Right.
because those trucks have torn those streets up.
Right.
And,
So maybe what you should do with that zone, instead of take it all out of that zone, because that was being used as a primary,
you know, we could do that.
and
We
it
could.
really should come out of primary as opposed to the separate zone, because the major damage done was all related to the changing that, so.
That's a very good,
Yeah.
What is a primary zone? I know there are all these other zones, but what's the primary?
the five major roadways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sandy Creek, Via Vaquero,
All right.
Rancho,
All right.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, but you're right, the damage done to the detour
Just grab one that's a couple of months
The
old.
traffic from Sandy, I put it on.
Right.
Oh,
I just grabbed one that's a couple of months old, so it hasn't been updated, but you can see how much we've got in,
here we
at
go.
that point in time.
You need,
Yeah.
okay, you can.
It's a couch print one, Mark.
So I do think that you should, that probably doesn't need board action, does it? You think, to do it that way?
I gotta think about it.
Yeah.
I'll probably ask Ward. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay,
Uh,
if it does, then
yeah.
we'll take it to the board, but I think that's the way that should be handled. As opposed to, maybe because the damage was done because of the detour, and the detour relates to Sandia Creek. So therefore,
And that goes way back, this whole issue of funding.
yeah, I
Because
know,
I remember sitting in this room with our Bill Cleveland.
right,
Who, as it turned out, steered us way wrong. That was the whole 500,000.
Hmm,
We did that because FEMA rep told us,
right,
okay?
okay,
And he said, we'll pay you back at the end. And then we submitted it and they denied. it.
Yeah.
And so this is the same kind of thing because this detour, I remember sitting right here and him sitting up there. And I said, wouldn't it make sense that if we have to detour the traffic and damage the street
Mhm.
for a FEMA job, that FEMA would pay for the detour repairs? Oh, absolutely. Submit it as an extra. Well, guess what? We
no,
haven't gotten to extra yet because we're not finished with the job.
oh.
But I would have submitted that. And maybe we still will because the small projects, it's like two different
yeah,
departments.
yeah, understood,
Small and large projects.
Mhm.
So the people on large projects may look at things totally different. So he may have confused himself or us, thinking that they would do that. So we should probably submit it, even though you know,
Right.
we have the
Right.
problem on the
I
small
think you
project.
should,
All the work for the detour, submit it as an extra
right,
and see what they do.
right, if they turn it down, they turn it down,
Right.
we're gonna do it anyway.
For Buenos Campos.
Buena Vista.
No, Buenos Campos, right,
And what Robert suggested when you were out of the room is that we transfer the funds when we do the detour repair work to primary because we wouldn't have had that work to do if we hadn't had to divert primary roads to the detour route. To try.
in other words, Buenos Campos became a primary road when you made the detour,
Right. Oh, I see what you're saying.
yes,
Yeah, I mean, that
So
sounds
that way-
logical.
Because on an equity issue,
right,
the people who pay into that zone, they shouldn't have got stuck for
right,
that extra work.
right,
That's true.
Because it
That's true.
benefited everyone in the community,
Right.
which is why they have primary roads.
right, and that's my zone, so I don't want you.
Oh, it's yours. Oh, okay. Well, we should do both. I mean, we can do that internally, but
Yeah.
I think we should charge FEMA.
But I think it is, I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. I think that because there was a detour there, that you all need to take care of that. And if there's any damage on De Anza, because that's part of that detour, then that should also be covered. Okay,
And I guess just looking quickly, primary, the beginning balance, or the ending balance is 1.3 million.
right,
And it began at 800, and then if we put in this extra 130, they'll still have that.
But this needs to be updated with the new benefit fees
right,
that I received, so I'm gonna be doing that this week. So,
Okay.
I mean, I could actually do it if you guys want and have it all updated for board meeting.
no.
I'll have it for next month.
Yeah, that's
I'll
great.
have it right
That's great.
on. I just haven't had time to
That's great, that's
do
great.
everything on here.
Okay, good. So we're up to the LAIF statement and I think it's a whopping 2.23%.
Doesn't seem to ever
Did it point
change
to three now?
any favor.
0.22, 0.21, depends
Point
on.
two two daily, quarterly, depends like, but yeah. Those 0.22%.
Right,
Breaking it in.
well, It didn't get affected by the Ukraine crisis.
No, it
That's
didn't.
all.
Like everyone else did.
Okay, and that's, any other things you want to discuss?
You saw that the packet is before you like that.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
And not to be overly optimistic, but I'm starting to think about, could this occur? Because you're really putting the Board of Supervisors in a take it or leave it or do or die position.
Mhm.
Because you may have noticed in that resolution, you're asking them to act by May 1st.
Right.
That's right.
And it's $1 million.
Yes.
Now, it's only gone on for 40 years, okay? So if I were on the Board of Supervisors and I didn't particularly, I wanted more time to think about it, that would be my response is, calm down, But we're taking the other position that if you don't act, it's $1 million, then that's a lot of money.
That's right.
I'm hoping that they see it that way and act. So that means that this money could start flowing to the district July 1st.
That would be
That's
wonderful.
4 months.
But you're asking Riverside County to take over our roads so that, but not really, not really. To take over our roads so we can get the gas tax, but we still are responsible for maintaining and repairing
You
roads,
hit the
correct?
nail right on the head, because if you read it and don't understand everything that's going on,
Mhm.
you essentially are giving back. You're out of business, and now you're a contractor of the county, and that is not
No.
what was implemented in 1979. And that was the battle that from about 77 to 79,
Mhm.
they battled, the people of Duluth battled through the Local Agency Formation Commission to not be a tax district and to have local control. And the county bureaucrats recommended against that for like 2 years. The LAFCO board at the time, I was mostly county people then, the makeup of that board, they sided with the staff, recommended that this be created as a road district, but that it be purely a tax district. So you create the district boundaries, you tax the people, assess them. They don't use the word tax. okay? They
Yeah,
say
assess them,
assess them,
right,
okay?
right.
And the Board of Supervisors, like all the unincorporated area, they collected the money, but they didn't have any responsibility to the people.
Right.
The people of Duluth, it was mostly the developer, Kaiser people.
Mhm.
But there were 61 homeowners. So they fought. So if you're going to tax us, we don't want to be a tax district. We want to be a CSD, which we're allowed for roads. The Board of Supervisors on a split vote, it wasn't unanimous, voted for a CSD.
Okay.
Now that gets tied back into these documents, okay? Because what we're contending is that at the time they created the CSD, they created a 2-tier road maintenance system in the county of Riverside. Prior to that, the only way in Riverside County that roads were maintained, public roads, were in the little orange trucks that said Riverside County.
Right, okay.
But when they created the CSP, in order to tax or assess people, they gave those roads over to be funded by that.
Mhm.
But so that term de facto, like,
Mhm.
you may not meant to do that, but the reality of it is,
Yeah,
we're orange trucks too.
yes,
Okay?
yes.
And so therefore, just because they put this umbrella district over these roads, those roads are still the same as the ones that get gas.
That's right.
And, you know, it's like hocus pocus, you
Mhm.
know? And so they could have, and since it was a knee-jerk reaction to Prop 13,
Right.
they, at that time, the Board of Supervisors who voted to do the scheme of creating CSD, pushing all that tax rate there, and the cost, and all. They could have kept doing that. And they probably thought, this is a great idea. Every road that we take from here on out, we're gonna make it CSD. We'll tax those people,
Mhm.
okay? They weren't thinking about the gas tax because it
No.
was so insignificant.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit of money, but not like
Not a
it is
lot,
today.
no.
And so when everything, all the smoke cleared from Prop 13, 1985, we finally figured out that life is gonna go on, everything's gonna be just fine. Then they said, well, we don't wanna do that. We wanna keep controlling these roads. So never again did they create a CSD to maintain county roads. But they owe us though, because that board of supervisors, they're all long gone now, okay, but they made two systems of county maintained roads
Right.
in the county of Riverside.
Mhm.
That's why when we took our bill to Sacramento, we thought we'd have all these CFCs. You know, we were just gonna be like a Piper, and we had all these people behind us, zero,
Zero.
because nobody did.
No.
This was some wild idea cooked up between Riverside County and the guys that are developers.
Mhm.
But that doesn't release Riverside County,
From giving us what
because it happened historically, it
Right.
happened,
right.
and they've got to recognize.
But the only way to do that then is to say, these roads are county roads, but we are still going to be, with the gas tax and the assessments, still be responsible for maintaining the road.
And because by law you are. Both the county laws in taking them from the developers, instead of giving them to the orange trucks,
Right.
they gave them to the CSD to maintain. But they still took, into their powers, losing powers. They could take them, but instead of keeping them to themselves, they gave them over to us.
Mhm.
But it was tricky the last few months of how to write these up. Because I had to keep
I could see
Xing, because the easy, simple way is to just write a document that says, okay, we're gonna make them in the system.
Mhm.
Not identify, that it's a system, and then we'll contract with those guys. Well, that puts us as a department of the county.
Yeah, we don't want that.
But state law, you have your own elected officials, so elected officials by state law control those roads. So we can't be having the director of transportation of Riverside County calling you guys
No.
and say, hey, fix that pothole.
Mhm. No.
Because under state law, you decide. to do it.
Oh,
And so if we could have contract or made these documents and it would have been another accident.
No, it made perfect sense to me.
So we're almost there, and I'm waiting on the legal opinion that they're still working on it. I told news people said it's coming.
Okay.
And what that is that our law firm is going on record that, in their opinion, those documents are eligible or legally okay
Mhm.
for the county to
Sure.
sign.
Sure.
Now, county council may have another opinion. This is something that the supervisor wants,
Yes.
is you get your lawyer to say that I, as a supervisor, can do this,
Right.
or I'm not gonna move this through.
Mhm.
But if he says, okay, yours,
Right.
we know he works for you, but that gives us the ability to take it to county
Mhm.
council and
Right.
say, the law should be the law. And they say it's okay. And hopefully.
Kevin Jeffries is our supervisor, and he's going to back this up.
Yes.
Good.
Well, the next step after you approve this tomorrow night is this whole package. I'm just sending it to his chief of staff.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
Jeffries is going to take it to the CEO
Good.
and ask him to get this done before me.
Let's adjourn the meeting. Okay?
All right.
Is that okay, Jessica? You can end the meeting. Thank you.